and emergence of sociology. And as I have said earlier also, most of the questions are coming in this topic from these keywords. So, it is very important for us to know historical conditions, right? So the first paragraph here, which you can see and which I have made pointers to all of you, you can see that sociology may have come out in 19th century, but it was a gradual process only, because of which it actually came. So to understand why and how modernity came, you need to know what was happening in the past. What was Dark Ages? Okay, so in previous NCERT chapters, we know that how we have evolved from animals, right? We have got human instinct. We were hunter and gatherers, this and that. We got into settlement. Now, humans have started developing societies, and with societies, they have also developed territorial boundaries. And then they also have developed rules and regulations. So, for a good period of time, humans' cognitive abilities and thinking and morality definitely was controlled by some sections. And who were that sections? Aristocrats. Okay, so 5th century in the history is considered as Dark Ages. Why Dark Ages? Lot of problems, social, economical, political problems, no morality, no development, no progress. Okay, so the Dark Ages was there till, you can say, 14th century. Now the 14th century is Renaissance. Renaissance literally means rebirth. Renaissance followed by Enlightenment. It literally means rebirth. What do we mean by rebirth? Revival of classical philosophy, interpretations, everything. Okay. Why we need to think like that? What was happening actually? अभी मैंने बताया ना आपको क्या हो रहा था? You people have to know this as a story. You know, ये आप लोगों को समझना पड़ेगा as a story that before 14th century, rationality, human understanding, empathy, temper, scientific temper was not really appreciated. It was a kind of, you can say, dictatorship. We could see in political structure. People were superstitious. Even if they have stomach ache, they used to have stomach ache, they used to go to the clergyman. So science was not being appreciated, reasons were not allowed. You cannot ask questions. So philosopher considered this phase as Dark Ages. Now, Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth what? Rebirth of morality, rebirth of humanity. So sociologists, social thinkers have started thinking that what can be the solution to bring prosperity to humans' suffering. How many of you understood this? Please write down in your own words. Then I will bring next. Till human suffering. So you people have to mention in your own words. I'm not going to dictate. Think and write on your own. That there was a time in the history considered as Dark Ages. No scientific development, no discoveries, dictatorship. No reasons were appreciated. People were dying out of diseases, famines were happening. So humanity was at stake. It was challenging. How many of you have written? Please write faster. What you have written, Shivansh? Please read.
The dark ages, dark ages where there was no morality process, it was economically, socially, politically. Political system was not really appreciated. Much of conflict and instability was created towards the situation. Somewhere in the economic and political situation, industrial revolution has taken place.
5th century में इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हैव टेकन प्लेस. No, ये तो अब मैंने बोला ही नहीं लिखने के लिए. I have told you to write dark ages. You are not writing dark ages. You need to write what is dark ages first of all. Dark ages refers to the era in which there was a political, economical, social turmoil. There was no discoveries. Reasons were not appreciated. I'm telling you guys, are not able to write your idea, then it is going to be serious havoc for your preparation. Yes, Kanishk, please read. Why are you writing Renaissance? I told you to first of all write dark ages. Wrong. You need to explain dark ages. Renaissance को तो अभी हमने 14th century तक तो आई ही नहीं है. You people were supposed to write from 5th century till 13th century. I asked you to write about dark ages. This is the problematic. That is what I am telling you. That with me, I am not going to tell you some appreciative words until unless you are not actually doing something good. Yes, Shalu. What's your name? भूल गई बेटा आपका नाम. सारिका. अब बताइए. Because of this is the way to write. Yes, Shalu. For the 14th century, there was a time of history, dark ages. Excellent. This is how you people have to start. Yes, Prince. How you have started, and don't say anything else. What say else? Tell only what you have written. Shut up. नहीं सुनना. एटलीस्ट तुम ये लिखते ना बिफोर रिनाइंसा या बिफोर 14th सेंचुरी. ऐसे लग रहा है कि आप लोग रिनाइंसा के बारे में लिख रहे हो. अब बॉक्स छोड़ के फिर उसके बाद लिखेंगे. आप लोग नहीं, जिन्होंने गलत लिखा है उसके बाद लिखोगे. राइट आफ्टर डार्क एजेस वी हैव गॉट रिनाइंसा. Renaissance refers to the period which is to be considered that we have now come to the era of light. People have started questioning. People started thinking what can be the solution. सुनाओ अच्छा फिर. After the prolonging dark age, it was marked by frustration. गुड. पहले लेकिन डार्क एजेस से स्टार्ट करो. मैंने तो सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछा था ना. मैंने तो सिंपली बोला कि डार्क एजेस पे लिखो. तो स्टार्ट फिर आपको की टर्म डार्क एजेस से ही करना है. नहीं मैंने तो बोला ना कि तो पूरा तो मैंने डार्क एजेस से ही समझाया ना आपको. तो आप तो क्रोनोलॉजिकल वे में समझाओगे ना. फिर डार्क एजेस हुआ, फिर रिनाइंसा हुआ. हम लोगों को आप अपने बारे में बात करो, दूसरों के बारे में नहीं बात करो. हाँ हाँ वो मैं भी बिहार से ही हूँ. आई नो. आगे चलिए लिखिए अब रिनाइंसा दूसरा. ठीक है. आफ्टर डार्क एजेस वी हैव गॉट रिनाइंसा. रिनाइंसा मीन्स rebirth. Philosophers started questioning irrationality, atrocities of ruling class, were looking for the solutions, to the mankind. What happened? Yes, Chalu. Kya? Irrationality, looking for the solutions to the problems. Okay. So Renaissance में philosophers were looking for scientific temper. They were arguing that we must have humanistic values. So if we are humans, we need to appreciate human irrespective of the fact what that person is having. Because during dark ages, the life of a commoners were not at all of any importance. So philosophers were arguing that even if you are, so what can be the factor to appreciate anyone that one person or he or she is human? That's it. So humanity was not being appreciated. Only wealth. So those humans who were having wealth or some status, they were being appreciated. So during Renaissance, people were looking that we cannot live in dark ages, we cannot go for unscientific reasons. Then what happened? We have got enlightenment. Now philosophers were arguing that church or clergy people, or if we have wrong understanding towards society, we will not accept. And the reason to put anyone on the top position in social hierarchical ladder can be only one. We can only have one reason for that. And what is that? Humanity, empathy, sympathy. Okay? So enlightenment was a period which was based on scientific temper. So enlightenment was a period which was based on scientific temper. During next pointer, during this time only humans were moving towards scientific progress and developments. Semicolon, science replaces religion and dogmatic belief systems. Okay. Next point, discoveries of steam power, steam engine, and block printing revolutionizes economical, political, and social structures. Next point, better machineries, better equipment, better transportation facilities have brought fundamental structural changes in the Western Europe. Fundamental changes in the Western Europe have brought fundamental changes in the Western Europe. Okay? Written this point? Next point, traditional agrarian system, agrarian system consists of simple machineries and technologies. Technologies were replaced by heavy machineries and technologies. Small cottage-based industries were began to shrink and massive industries and factories emerged. And massive industries and factories emerged. Next point. Clear? Next point. With the power of steam engine and coal energy, with the power of coals and steam engine, traveling become easy. Traveling become easy and traveling become easy, eventually resulting in high pace of trading between different countries. Next point. Economical shift occurred in the form of industrial revolution. Okay? In the form of industrial revolution. Write down next point. Also, the power dynamics of traditional European feudal society were also challenged. Were also challenged. Particularly during French Revolution. New ideas like liberty, equality, fraternity establishes its establishes its roots and humanistic values took the central position. Okay, next point. These political economical transformations transformations created chaos, chaos and havoc like situations. And social structure and social structure were at the edge of collapsing. Next, people have migrated to the cities. Masses have migrated to the cities. Masses have migrated to the cities in search of their survival. Unfortunately, cities welcome them with the major problems of urbanism like poor sanitation, no houses, no health facilities, diseases, living in miserable poverty conditions. These changes were detrimental. These changes were detrimental for the healthy functioning of any societies. And these social changes compels classical sociologists to examine social conditions of European societies by using their unique perspectives. Full stop. Next point. To elaborate, Karl Marx uses कौन सा perspective? Conflict perspective. Immanuel Durkheim uses functionist perspective. And Max Weber बताओ. Max Weber uses Shansh. Max Weber. Interpretivist perspective to see the 19th century condition of Europe, social political changes of Europe. Hence, the intellectual ideas contributed heavily in the emergence of sociology. Hence, intellectual ideas paved the way or contributed heavily for the emergence of sociology as a new discipline. आप लोग देख सकते हो कि कितना इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर है. आई एम मेकिंग ऑल ऑफ यू राइट नोट्स, पॉइंटर्स. ओके, देख लिया what you people have written in the end? So in this chapter, the key ideas of three sociological thinkers, Marx, Weber, Durkheim. So their ideas laid the foundation of the subject. Their ideas and insights have remained relevant even in the contemporary world. Of course, these ideas have also been subjected to criticism and have undergone major modification. But since ideas about society are themselves influenced by social conditions, we begin with few words about the context in which sociology emerged. ये तो मैंने पढ़ा दिया था, समझ में आ गया? Okay? Just enlightenment is a very important topic, so we cannot just discuss in this, like, one paragraph. But because since we are going to have a lot of discussion on enlightenment, so I'm just teaching what it is written here, not more information I'm giving. Okay? Because I cannot explain enlightenment in just one hour or so. I would be taking enough time. First of all, I will explain entire world history. Then I'll get into enlightenment. Okay? So here we can see during the late 17th century and 18th centuries, Western Europe saw the emergence of radically new ways of thinking about the world. That is enlightenment. So these new philosophies established the human being at the center of the universe, मैंने पढ़ाया था, and rational thought as a central feature of human being. Okay, so enlightenment में क्या था रिनायन सा याद है कि क्या होना चाहिए क्या होना चाहिए. अब हम enlightenment में radical हो गए philosophers. For example, Immanuel Kant. Okay, we have political thinkers, social contract theory, Montesquieu, John Locke, Hobbes, different social thinkers, political thinkers, they all were arguing that what kind of society we need to establish. Separation of powers, humanistic values. Okay? So philosophers started arguing that we need to respect human lives. We need to see society from facts, social facts. Like Auguste Comte have argued that we are going to apply the similar natural science methods to understand social world. Okay, so people started arguing that we all have to think rationally. We need to transform the individual human being into the both producer and the user of knowledge. Person who could think and reason could be considered as fully human. So being the handiwork of human society was amenable to rational analysis. So enlightenment was made possibly in turn people to have secular, scientific and humanistic values. Now these ideas, and we have discussed political thinkers ideas, Nicole Machiavelli, Machiavelli के ideas, इतने सारे political thinkers के ideas, what they have done? Their ideas initiated reasons, and people started questioning the authority of king. They have started asking why we do have to pay this much of taxes. We need to again bring that life. Otherwise, Aravali to ab tak cut ho chuki hoti. If we would not have protested. Okay, so that's what we have to see. So these enlightened ideas, reasons brought French Revolution in 1789. The Declaration of Human Rights, equality of all citizens. We need to get away oppressive rule of the religious and feudal institutions that dominated France before the revolution. The peasants, most of whom were serfs, tied to landed states owned by members of the aristocracy, were freed of their bonds. Numerous taxes paid by the peasants and to the feudal lords and to the church were cancelled. As free citizens of the republic, sovereign individuals were invested with rights and were equal before the law and other institutions of the state. The state had the respect, the privacy of the autonomous individual, and its laws could not intrude upon a domestic life of the people. A separation was built between the public realm of the state and private realm of the household. Okay? Liberty, equality, and fraternity became the watchwords of the modern state. और यहीं से 2025 पे क्वेश्चन आया है GS1 में, सेम आईडी सेम वर्ड्स में. और बहुत सारे लोग, उनमें से एक धनंजय भी थे जो मुझसे आर्ग्यूमेंट कर रहे थे. नॉट धनंजय, आई थिंक निशांत, कि इसका आंसर ये नहीं था. फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन is an event that we have to understand. It is bringing morality. It is bringing ideas to contemporary world. You do not have to see it only as something happened in the past. That is why they have asked in GS1, but it was just not the part of world history. लिखा है ना यहाँ पे, watch words of the modern state. It has a contemporary relevance. I am telling you guys, आप लोगों ने एक बहुत ही अच्छा ऑप्शनल पिक किया है, सबसे ज्यादा ओवरलैपिंग है. आपके जीएस से. ओके, नाउ एनलाइटनमेंट फॉलोड बाय फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन, इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. द फाउंडेशन ऑफ मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री were laid by the Industrial Revolution, which began in Britain in the late 18th and early 19th century. It had two major aspects. The first was the systematic application of science and technology to industrial production. particularly the invention of new machines. Secondly, industrial revolution also involved new ways of organizing labor, markets on a scale larger than anything in the past, new machines like spinning jenny, productivity, textile industry की, new methods of obtaining power, steam engines, facilitated the production process and gave rise to the factory system. लिखवा दिया ये सारा, ठीक है? So these goods were now produced on a gigantic scale. The raw material used in the production were also obtained from all over the world. Modern large-scale industry thus become a worldwide phenomena. These changes in the production system also resulted in major changes in social life. The factory set up urban areas were manned by workers who were uprooted from the rural areas. Uprooted, मतलब वो force किए गए थे, याद रखना. ओके, क्योंकि उनकी इंडस्ट्री, उनका आर्टिशन, उनका स्मॉल वर्क उसको ruin कर दिया गया था. Now we are in city, we are getting low wages. Women is also working. Children had to work long hours in hazardous circumstances to eke out a living. Modern industry enabled the urban to dominate over the rural. Cities and towns became the dominant forms of human settlement, housing large and unequal population in small densely populated urban areas. The rich and powerful lived in the cities, but so did the working classes who lived in slums amidst of poverty and squalor. Modern forms of governance, which the state assuming control of health, sanitation, crime control, general development, created the demand for new kinds of knowledge. The social sciences and particularly sociology emerged partially as a response to this need. ये लिख लो यहाँ पे, बहुत important है. Sociology emerged. Why? Because these have brought new society, modern forms. Modernity brought modern form of governance with the state assuming control of health, sanitation. ये पूरा का पूरा आप लोगों को लिखना है यहाँ से यहाँ तक अपने नोट्स में. हाँ जी, हाँ जी। तो सोशियोलॉजी इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ मॉडर्निटी, ठीक है। अब मॉडर्निटी को कैसे समझना है? Renaissance, Enlightenment and all that, scientific temper. तो अब एक न्यू वेज ऑफ लाइफ हमारी आ गई। पहले किंग रूल करते थे, अब डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम है, गवर्नमेंट है। तो नाउ गवर्नमेंट इज assuming the powerful role, taking decisions on the behalf of people. Okay, they are taking care of social problems, economical problems, political problems. New society based on new ideas. देखने को तो लग रहा है लिबर्टी, इक्वलिटी, फ्रेटर्निटी, बट क्या ऐसा था? तो मॉडर्न सोसाइटीज, और यू कैन से ना, यहाँ पे मैंने जो आपको भी अंडरलाइन कराया है, यहाँ पे देखो, न्यू प्रॉब्लम्स, अनइक्वल पॉपुलेशन, cities and towns become the dominant form of human settlement, housing large, women are working, slum is there, so modern forms of governance with the state assuming. तो ये जो न्यू डेवलपमेंट था, created the demand for the new kinds of knowledge. याद रखना, modernity brought a paradigm shift in societal structures, and it has brought a new demand, लिखा है ना, created new development, created the demand for new kinds of knowledge. So social science and particularly sociology emerged as response to this need. From the outset, sociological thought was concerned with the scientific analysis of development in industrial society. So it is to be believed that sociology as a discipline is analyzing the new developments of industrial society. Okay? Empirically informed scientific discussions about trends in social behavior only become possible with the advent of modern industrial society. So the scientific information generated by the state to monitor and maintain the health of its social body become the basis for reflection on society. Sociological theory was the result of this self-reflection. Now, actually, what had happened? We have got industrial society. Now, the government wanted to have data. How many laborers are there? How many laborers are living in which conditions? So first of all, we have got data. Government started developing and maintaining data. Because democracy bhi aa chuki thi, they also needed content so that they can go for vote. ठीक है, यहाँ पे एडल्ट सफरेज वगैरह ये सब भी तो आ रहा है ना धीरे धीरे. They wanted to know, they wanted to have information about people, labor class. To control labor class, government have started creating statistical study. So statistical study was there because hospitals वगैरह भी आ रहे थे, उसमें statistics बन रहे थे, कितने लोग मर रहे हैं, इतने लोगों को ये बीमारी है, crime rates बढ़ रहे थे, तो पुलिस का भी एक crime rate का statistic था, labor का, this and that. Okay, so what we were having? So new democratic industrial society, new industrial society created statistics. And those statistics were shocking to social philosophers. Because they needed a new society, but at the same time, you need to have healthy citizens as well. Because liberty, equality, fraternity का concept तो establish हो ही किया है. So people were confused, philosophers were confused that now we are living in a modern day society. Now we are not discussing, we are not taking decision in by referring to some religious textbook. Then why are we having problems? So at outset, it seems to us that sociology emerged as a ठीक है ना यहाँ पे, मैंने बताया भी था भी. Yeah, response to the this industrial society. Okay. So now deeper insights were required. That what can be the solutions to this major problems. हाउसिंग का प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व करें, पॉवर्टी का प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व करें. तो प्रॉब्लम थी क्या, मॉडर्न डे का मेजर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी का मेजर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, इसको समझने के लिए वी हैव ब्रॉट, हाँ, नॉट माइग्रेशन. अकॉर्डिंग टू कार्ल मार्क्स, ह्यूमन ग्रीड इज द मेजर प्रॉब्लम. माइग्रेशन तो एक आउटसाइड रीजन लग रहा है कि लोग आ रहे हैं, बट वो क्यों आ रहे हैं, बिकॉज यू हैव ऑल्सो क्रिएटेड an ideology of competition. You people are creating, cutting forests and making new industries, making factories. अभी अगर गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड कर ले दैट नो मोर डिफॉरेस्टेशन, नो मोर सिटी डेवलपमेंट, so the discover, if we start talking about that less is more, okay, we should focus on healthy living rather than living like this. तो मॉडर्न आइडियाज को रिप्लेस किया गया और प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट की गई, यू कैन से. अब ये जो इंडस्ट्रियल, न्यू इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी इमर्ज हुई, उसको समझने के लिए, उसकी प्रॉब्लम को खत्म करने के लिए व्हाट हैपेंड, वी हैव गॉट थिंकर्स. इज दिस नाउ क्लियर? द फर्स्ट वेरी थिंकर विच एनसीईआरटी इज ब्रिंगिंग टू अस, इट्स कार्ल मार्क्स. ठीक है, तो हम यहाँ पे यही सारी चीज समझ रहे हैं, साइंस ऑफ द न्यू इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी. So we need to understand Karl Marx. I would suggest all of you to write at least this information in your class notes. And then you people can take a break and then I will continue teaching. First of all, ये लिखोगे, then you people can take a break of 10 minutes. ओके गाइस, आप लोग बताइए व्हाट यू पीपल नो अबाउट कार्ल मार्क्स. फ्रेंच, जर्मन. शिवांश, व्हाट यू नो अबाउट कार्ल मार्क्स? और इसके अलावा? हाँ, अच्छा. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मतलब? अरे पूरा आंसर लिखे हो तुम उस दिन, चीटिंग कर करके. एक मिस्टेक नहीं थी इसके, लास्ट की 4 लाइन के अलावा. बताओ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्या, किसकी? अच्छा, किन दो क्लास के बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, ये आंसर बताओ. पता लग जाएगा कि यहाँ पे सब कुछ आता है. किन दो क्लास के बीच में कार्ल मार्क्स ने कहा था कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है? हाँ, और रिच एंड पुअर, कुछ भी बता सकते हो. रिच एंड पुअर, कैपिटलिस्ट या वर्कर्स. रीजन क्या था कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का? कनिष्क, रीजन क्या था कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का अकॉर्डिंग टू कार्ल मार्क्स? कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, दोनों के इंटरेस्ट अलग थे. कैपिटलिस्ट का क्या इंटरेस्ट था? प्रॉफिट. वर्कर्स का क्या इंटरेस्ट था? हाई वेजेस. सिंपल. ओके, नाउ वी नीड टू नो अबाउट कार्ल मार्क्स. As you people can see, 1818 to 1883 was born on 5th May, Prussia in Germany. So Germany was also going some sort of changes. We will not say जैसे फ्रांस में टर्मोइल था, लेकिन यहाँ पे भी चेंजेस थे. ठीक है, जर्मनी में भी चेंजेस थे. इट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस, जब भी हम किसी थिंकर्स को पढ़ते हैं तो उस वक्त का कंडीशन क्या था, इकोनॉमिकल पॉलिटिकल कंडीशन. तो जब हम डीपर पढ़ेंगे एडवांस में, तब मैं वो सब डिस्कस करूंगी, कैसे प्रूसिया में चेंजेस आ रहे थे, क्या आ रहा था, ये सब. तो कार्ल मार्क्स के जो फादर थे वो भी काफी ज्यादा रैशनल थिंकिंग के ओनर थे, राइट? सो he was highly intellectual. He was a follower of Immanuel Kant reasons. तो कार्ल मार्क्स का जो अपब्रिंगिंग हुआ वो काफी, यू कैन से, एजुकेटेड एनवायरमेंट में हुआ कहीं ना कहीं. बट कार्ल मार्क्स had faced lot of challenges in his life. इनिशियली उन्होंने फिलॉसफी को रीड करा, रिलीजन को रीड करा, हिस्ट्री को रीड करा, बिकॉज एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम मेजर सेग्रीगेशंस नहीं थे, क्योंकि सोशल साइंसेस अभी आया था, साइंस, तो सारे सब कुछ पढ़ते थे. तो कार्ल मार्क्स का स्टार्टिंग में जो इंटरेस्ट था, इट वाज इन फिलॉसफी, रिलीजन. एंड ही वाज आल्सो कंसिडर्ड एज यंग हेगेलियन. हीगल जो थे, उनके फॉलोअर को यंग हेगेलियन कहते थे. ठीक है, तो studied at the law in the University of Bonn, then in the University of Berlin. He was influenced by the young Hegelians. जॉर्ज विलेम हीगल की जो फिलॉसफी थी, डायलेक्टिक्स, बाद में पढ़ेंगे. तो ये भी काफी ज्यादा कार्ल मार्क्स हीगल की राइटिंग से काफी इन्फ्लुएंस थे. ये लिखोगे आप लोग. और ही कंसिडर्ड हिमसेल्फ एज यंग हीगल. एक ग्रुप हुआ करता था, जो भी हीगल के आइडियाज को फॉलो करते थे उनको आप हीगल, यंग हेगेलियन मानते थे, राइट? बट कार्ल मार्क्स ने फॉलो तो किया, कार्ल मार्क्स ने हीगल के आइडियाज को फॉलो किया. ही फॉलोड द आइडियाज ऑफ हीगल, बट एट द सेम टाइम what happened? He challenged also his ideas. He borrowed major dialectical ideas, philosophical ideas from the writings of Hegel, but in the later part of his life, he rejected also. ये लिखेंगे. Apart from all thinkers, सबसे ज्यादा कार्ल मार्क्स को समझाने में टाइम लगता है. एक बारी कार्ल मार्क्स आप समझते हो Then in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days आप सारे thinkers समझ लेते हो. 3 thinkers, Karl Marx, Durkheim and Weber. Time लगता है इसमें. Okay? Then he made a very good friend, Engels. So met Frederick Engels, and then they both have collaborated lot of work. Communist Manifesto was one of them. Okay. So you can see Karl Marx was from Germany, but spent most of his intellectually productive years in exile in Britain. His radical political views was led him to be exiled from Germany, क्योंकि जर्मनी, फ्रांस एंड ऑस्ट्रिया, इनको जगह कहाँ मिली? जहां पे इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन इमर्ज हुई. वैसे इट्स अगेन आयरनी. इंग्लैंड में ही जाके उन्होंने अपने प्रोडक्टिव काम किया, और वी ऑल नो कि इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन वहीं से आया था. ओके. So he was a social thinker who advocated to end of oppression and exploitation of whom? Workers, poor. He believed that scientific socialism would achieve this goal. Scientific socialism. Critical analysis of capitalist society to expose its weakness and bring about its downfall. So Karl Marx ने हमेशा weakness बताई है capitalism की. लिखेंगे. Marx argued that human society had progressed through different stages: primary communism, slavery, feudalism, and capitalism. So capitalism was the latest phase of human advancement, but Marx believed that it would give way to socialism. Capitalist society was marked by an ever-intensifying process of alienation. कार्ल मार्क्स का कहना था कैपिटलिज्म के साथ मेजर जो प्रॉब्लम है वो है एलियनेशन. Alienation is a process in which individuals get alienated from their own potential. उनका जो potential है वो उसको देख नहीं पाते. They work like a machine. उनका exploitation होता है. Okay? वो जिस सिस्टम में काम करते हैं वो उसमें उनके ओनरशिप नहीं होती है, उनका कोई ऑटोनॉमी नहीं होता है. तो एलिनेशन एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है कार्ल मार्क्स का, और उनको यही प्रॉब्लम था कि ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट इंसान की खत्म हो जाती है कैपिटलिस्ट मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन में. तो फर्स्ट मॉडर्न कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी, क्योंकि रिमेंबर व्हाट वी हैव अंडरस्टूड दैट सोशियोलॉजी इज अ साइंस ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी, राइट. तो इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी में जो चेंजेस आ रहे थे उसको समझ रही है. तो कार्ल मार्क्स ने कैपिटलिस्ट मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन को अच्छे से समझा. तो मॉडर्न कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी इज वन वेयर ह्यूमंस आर मोर एलिनेटेड फ्रॉम नेचर देन एवर बिफोर. सेकेंड, ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आर एलिनेटेड फ्रॉम ईच अदर. तो पहले तो अपने आप से बदल जाते, ह्यूमनली बिलीव नहीं कर रहे हैं, मशीन्स की तरह बिलीव कर रहे हैं, बिहेव कर रहे हैं, अपने दोस्त के साथ काम नहीं कर सकते. So human beings are related from each other as capitalism, individual, previously collective forms of social organization. So relationship get more and market mediated. The large mass of working people is alienated from the fruits of its labor, product they produce. So moreover, workers have no control over the work process itself, unlike in the days when skilled craftsmen control their own labor. Today, the content of the factory workers' working day is decided by the management. Finally, as the combined result of all this alienation, human beings are also alienated from themselves and struggle to make their lives meaningful in a system where they are both free but also more alienated and less in control of their lives than before. Even though it was an exploitative and oppressive system, Marx believed that capitalism was nevertheless a necessary and progressive stage of human history. याद रखना ये कि capitalism was nevertheless a necessary and progressive stage of human history because it created the precondition for an egalitarian future free from both exploitation and poverty. So capitalism एक important condition भी था. So capitalist society would be transformed by its victim, the working class, who would unite to collectively bring about a revolution to overthrow and establish free and equal socialist society. In order to understand the working of capitalism, Marx undertook an elaborate study of its political, social, and especially its economic aspects. So Marx's conception of the economy was based on the notion of a mode of production which stood for a broad system of production associated with epoch or historical period. यहाँ तक आपको समझना है इन पहले दो पैराग्राफ में कार्ल मार्क्स सिंपली कह रहे हैं कि कैपिटलिज्म जो है उसमें उनको प्रॉब्लम है. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? एलिनेशन. एलिनेशन मतलब when I am working in a factory or in any capitalist system, let's just say in this system, even in coaching industry, it's very difficult to work. I mean, I have worked in university and colleges. There was no pressure. I was more creative when I was explaining, though I like challenges, and let's just talk about it later on. So I just want to explain here. I'm here working for 8 to 9 hours. Okay, to work here 8 to 9 hours, I have to actually travel 4 more hours, like, coming, going, like that. So you are working technically 12 to 13 hours. Then you are not making any creativity with yourself. You are just working like machine. Although I am a teacher, so still I have a scope of teaching, and I'm teaching thankfully sociology, so I'm initiating ideas in your head. I'm always questioning this and that. Okay, but still I have to follow what management is saying, and you people should be knowing about it, that when you work in a private sector, it is controlled by management. Okay, so I cannot be the major part in coaching, though teachers are very important, but still management may I cannot take any major role. They can take me out anytime. Fine. So this is a challenging. I am not maybe getting entire profit. Profit is going somewhere else. It is true. I'm only getting my wage. And right now, society is not the way it was in 19th century. Abhi to 21st century hai, I am more powerful than, I would say, management. But yes, I don't have any control here, no. I can go, they can throw me out. Yes, they can. No. तुमको भी निकाल देंगे. ले बेटा अपना फ्रेंड ले, उमा मैम को भी ले और जा. हाँ, you'll be happy. Sure. But fact is, they have the freedom, isn't it? Karl Marx was arguing. Karl Marx का कहना था, earlier it was not like that. Okay, people when they were working, they were having some sense of satisfaction. They had some control. They used to work whenever they feel like. So there was some happiness. Then he said that capitalism is also important because it is the stage because of which we can get scientific communism. Also, कार्ल मार्क्स का ये भी कहना था कि कैपिटलिज्म मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन ने इंसानों को फ्री तो किया था. कुछ लोग जो है सभी के लिए खाना प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. तो प्रॉब्लम थी क्या, वो हम आगे बाद में पढ़ेंगे. उसके बाद इस वाले पैराग्राफ में व्हाट कार्ल मार्क्स इज सेइंग, उन्होंने पूरा का पूरा जो सोसाइटी को समझा वो इकोनॉमिकल पॉइंट से समझा कि जब भी इकोनॉमी में चेंजेस आएगा तो पॉलिटिक्स भी चेंज होगा और सोशल लाइफ भी चेंज होगा. तो मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन को उन्होंने एम्फेसाइज किया. ये जो सेकंड पैराग्राफ है ये यही बात कह रहा है, जो कि हम कल पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. ऑलराइट. कल तो हमारी क्लास नहीं है, सो नेक्स्ट टाइम जो भी हमारा डेट होगा मैंने शिफ्ट कर दिया है डेट आपका टेस्ट का. ओके, पहले मुझे वेस्टर्न सोशियोलॉजी अच्छे से पढ़ाना है एंड इंडियन सोशियोलॉजिस्ट बाद में भी कर सकते हैं, पहले वेस्टर्न सोशियोलॉजिस्ट, फिर उसके बाद एडवांस। ओके, टेस्ट शिफ्ट बता दूंगी मैं कब।